Welcome to Kundalini Unveiled. I'm Guri, and I want to thank you for joining us for something unlike anything else. Hours of journey into the depths of Kundalini awakening. This isn't just a discussion, it's an unfolding, a mirror, maybe even a transmission. And sitting with me is someone who's walked this path through light, fire, silence, and chaos. My guest today is Mira.
Mira. Hi, Guri. Thanks for having me. Honestly, Kundalini is the kind of thing you don't choose. It chooses you. And when it rises, everything changes. Guri.
That's exactly what we're here to unpack. This whole experience. What is it? Why does it happen? And how do we live with it? So, Mira, let's start with the big question. What is Kundalini? Not just the definition, but your felt experience from the inside.
Mira. Well, if I strip it down, Kundalini is the life force at the root of everything. It's often described as divine feminine energy, coiled at the base of the spine. When she awakens, it's not subtle. It's a force, a fire. It moves through your nervous system, your psyche, your body. It clears everything false. In my case, it felt like an ancient serpent in my spine suddenly came alive. I didn't know what it was. I thought I was either dying or going mad. Guri.
Wow. Let's pause right there. I think a lot of people feel that way, especially those who've had an experience and didn't have the language for it. So let's go back. How did you first come across this energy? Was it intentional?
Mira. Not at all. I was 23, in a breathwork class. Nothing fancy. I wasn't seeking anything spiritual. But during the session, I felt this heat and vibration rise up my spine. And then boom, I was sobbing, shaking, having visions. I thought something had snapped in me. I searched online. Energy rising in spine. And that's when I found the word Kundalini. It gave me chills because I knew this is what happened. Guri.
So powerful. And what I love is that it was raw. No guru, no temple, no incense. Just breathe. Just your body and soul colliding.
Mira. Exactly. And when I started learning more, I realized this is ancient. The yogis weren't kidding around. Kundalini is mentioned in the Upanishads, in Tantra, in Shaktism. They described it as Shakti, the feminine creative force, asleep at the base of the spine, waiting to rise. Guri.
And today, it's becoming more known, even outside of India. But that comes with confusion too, right?
Mira. Totally. People think it's about bliss, or enlightenment, or becoming some sort of superhuman. But awakening Kundalini is more like being stripped bare, emotionally, spiritually. It reveals everything you've suppressed. It's the ultimate detox. And yes, there are moments of bliss, but there's also grief, fear, and unraveling. Guri.
That's why this podcast matters. Because it's not just love and light, it's truth. Awakening is sacred, but it's also messy. So, how is Kundalini different from just having a deep meditation or a spiritual experience?
Mira. Meditation can bring peace or insight, but Kundalini rewires you. It's like plugging your system into a much higher voltage. It moves through you, not just your mind, but your spine, your cells. It cleans house. You can't meditate it away. It's embodied. Guri.
I love that. You can't think your way through a Kundalini awakening. You have to surrender. It's wild, primal, and deeply intelligent. Let me ask you this, Mira. If someone's listening and just discovering this, what would you say to them?
Mira. I'd say, trust your experience, even if it scares you. Don't force it. Don't chase it. Kundalini has her own intelligence. Respect the body, respect the process, and know you're not alone. Guri.
Beautiful. Thank you, Mira. That was just the opening. Next, we're going to explore the signs before awakening. You may discover you've already started without knowing it. So stay with us. Breathe. Be curious. This is only the beginning.
Second episode. Kundalini Unveiled. Whispers before the storm. Signs before Kundalini awakening. Guri.
Welcome back to Kundalini Unveiled. I'm Guri, and if you're still with us, you're already feeling the pull, the energy, the call. Previously, we laid the foundation, what Kundalini is, where it comes from, and how it doesn't ask for permission. It arrives, but it rarely just explodes out of nowhere. There are signs, gentle ones, strange ones, things we write off as coincidences or quirks, but they're signals, whispers, and Mira's here to help us listen more closely.
Mira. Hey Guri. Yeah, this part is so important because most people don't realize Kundalini doesn't just wake up with a thunderbolt. There are ripples before the wave, and if you know how to read them, you start seeing your whole life differently. Guri.
So let's name them. What are some of the first pre-awakening signs people might overlook?
Mira. There are a bunch, but here are the most common. 1. Heightened sensitivity. You suddenly can't tolerate loud places, certain people, or even certain foods. 2. Emotional roller coasters. Old grief comes up for no reason. You cry during commercials. You feel everything. 3. Feeling detached from the world, like you're watching life from the outside. Nothing satisfies you anymore. 4. Random energy surges, buzzing in your spine, or heat in your hands or crown. 5. Synchronicities, numbers repeating, dreams that come true, running into teachers or books at the exact right moment. 6. Deep longing for home, not a place, but a frequency. You start asking, who am I? Why am I really here? Guri.
That's wild, because I felt almost all of that in different periods of my life and didn't know it meant something deeper.
Mira. Exactly. Most people think they're having a breakdown or depression, or they're just being too sensitive. But no, it's preparation. The system is getting ready for more light, more truth. And so, everything heavy starts rising to the surface. Guri.
Can you describe how that felt for you, personally?
Mira. Totally. About 6 months before my awakening, I started waking up at 3:33 a.m. every night. My body was buzzing. I thought I had insomnia, but I wasn't tired during the day. Then I lost interest in everything, my job, my friends, even things I used to love. I wasn't sad, I was just empty. Then the emotions came, like a dam broke. Grief, fear, childhood trauma I didn't know I had. And I started to feel people's energy. Like, I'd walk into a room and feel nauseous or energized depending on who was there. It was like my body had become a radar. Guri.
Were you scared?
Mira. Yes and no. A part of me knew something real was happening. Even when my mind was freaking out, my heart felt peaceful, like I was being cracked open on purpose. Guri.
That's such a powerful way to put it, cracked open on purpose. You mentioned earlier that the body starts preparing. Can we go deeper into that? What kind of physical signs show up?
Mira. Definitely. So these are subtle but important. tingling or crawling sensations at the base of the spine, feeling like there's a pulse or heartbeat in your lower back. Spontaneous jerks or movements during meditation, called kriyas. Pressure in the third eye or crown. Sudden changes in appetite or digestion. Feeling like you're vibrating, even when you're still. Sometimes it feels like your body is trying to speak in a new language, energy instead of words. Guri,
That's huge. And yet most of us go to Google and think we have a medical condition or anxiety or both.
Mira. And of course, it's always good to rule out medical stuff. But if doctors say you're fine and your body is still doing weird things, it could be energetic. The key is to slow down, breathe, listen. The body doesn't lie. Guri,
What about people who are like, I've never meditated, I just live my life, but I've had these weird surges. Can Kundalini awaken without spiritual practice?
Mira. Yes, that's the wild part. It can awaken spontaneously through grief, love, childbirth, trauma, near-death experiences, even intense creativity. It doesn't just belong to yogis. It belongs to humanity. The soul is always trying to wake up. Sometimes it uses meditation. Sometimes it uses heartbreak. Guri,
Wow, that reframes everything. So Mira, if someone's listening right now and thinking, this is me, these signs are happening to me, what should they do next?
Mira, I'd say don't panic and don't try to force anything. Start a gentle, consistent practice. Grounding exercises, walk barefoot, spend time in nature. Breath awareness, just watch your breath daily without changing it. Journal what you're feeling. Avoid overstimulation, social media, caffeine, loud crowds, and most importantly, honor what's arising, even the hard stuff. It's sacred. Guri,
Mira, thank you. That was rich. So many of us are walking around with these signals, these whispers, and now we know. They're not random. Next, we're going even deeper. The moment when Kundalini fully awakens. What happens when the serpent rises? Until then, keep breathing, keep listening. Your soul remembers.
Guri,
Welcome back to Kundalini Unveiled. I'm Guri, and if you're listening to this, you're on the edge of something sacred. We've talked about what Kundalini is and the signs that it's stirring. But now, we enter the turning point, the lightning strike, the fire. This is episode 3, the awakening moment. And Mira, I want to begin with a single question. What happened when it finally rose?
Mira, gently exhaling. I'll never forget it. I was sitting in meditation, like many other times. Nothing unusual. No incense, no chanting, just silence and my breath. Suddenly, I felt a spark at the base of my spine. Not pain, more like electricity, a pulse, then heat. It coiled upward, slow, winding, like something ancient waking up. And then, it surged, fast, like lightning shot through me. It wasn't metaphor, it was real. My spine arched, my heart exploded open. I was crying and laughing at the same time. Time stopped. Guri,
Was it bliss? Was it terrifying? Both?
Mira, both. My body was trembling, but I wasn't afraid. I felt like everything I ever was, every cell, every emotion, every lifetime, was being washed away in pure light. I saw images of symbols, ancestors, stars, fractals. And then, nothing. Just stillness. Not sleep, not death. Something beyond. When I came back, I was weeping. But not from sadness. From awe. Guri,
Take your time. I feel that in my chest just hearing it. It sounds beautiful, but also overwhelming. What happens after that kind of experience?
Mira. Well, the days after were chaos. My senses were on fire. Light was too bright. Food felt too heavy. Conversations felt meaningless. I couldn't explain it to anyone, and I didn't want to. The mind tried to grab it, analyze it. But this was something sacred, the kind of thing that only makes sense soul first. Guri,
And for people listening, some might think this sounds dramatic or too much, but others are like, yes, this happened to me, and I didn't know what to call it. Can you walk us through what might happen in different types of awakenings?
Mira. Absolutely. Not everyone has a full surge right away. There are three major patterns I've seen and experienced. 1. Sudden awakening. Feels like a spontaneous electrical surge. Can be triggered by meditation, breathwork, sex, trauma, or nothing at all. Often leads to physical shaking, kriyas, and a rush of heat or light. Second gradual awakening comes in waves over months or years. Subtle shifts in perception, energy, emotions. Less overwhelming, but deeply transformational. Third, triggered awakening. Sparked by a powerful emotional or physical event. Examples: loss of a loved one, childbirth, plant medicine, or extreme joy, sorrow. Can feel like a near-death or rebirth moment. In all three, there's a deep inner knowing. Something sacred has begun. Guri.
And the body reacts too, right? Like physically, it's not just emotional or spiritual?
Mira. Definitely. Common physical responses include heat rising along the spine, tremors or involuntary movements, kriyas, rapid heartbeat or breath changes, pressure at the crown or third eye, feeling rooted yet weightless, like gravity is altered. For me, it felt like I had become a bridge between heaven and earth, and my nervous system had to adjust to that. Guri.
Is it possible to resist it or stop it?
Mira. Yes. And that's when things can get difficult. If the ego resists, or if the person has unprocessed trauma, the awakening can feel like a breakdown. That's why grounding is not optional. When energy rises too fast, it can unearth everything: fear, trauma, even repressed memories. That's not punishment, it's purification. But if you're not ready or supported, it can be destabilizing. Guri.
So, what helped you anchor after that massive experience?
Mira. Simple things, earth-based things. Walking barefoot, eating grounding foods, rest, crying without judgment, journaling, and talking to others who had been through it. Also, no rushing. I gave up trying to make it go away or go higher. I let the energy teach me. I became a student of my own soul. Guri.
That's such a powerful reframe, becoming a student of your soul. I think a lot of people chase Kundalini as an experience, but you're showing it's not about chasing, it's about surrendering. Last question for this hour. What's the biggest misconception people have about the awakening moment?
Mira. That it's the end. Like once it rises, you're enlightened. But actually, it's the beginning. It's like the seed has cracked open. The real work starts after, integrating that light, healing old wounds, learning how to live as a vessel of awakened energy in a human world. It's not about escape. It's about embodied transformation. Guri.
Thank you, Mira. I can feel the sacred weight of your words. So many of us search for this moment, hoping it'll fix us or make us special. But what I hear in you is humility, reverence, and responsibility. Next, we go into what often follows the awakening, the dark night of the soul. It's not all light, but it's still love. Stay with us. Your journey is just beginning.
Fourth episode. Guri.
Welcome back to Kundalini Unveiled. I'm Guri, and this hour is for those who feel like they're falling apart. After the awakening, you felt the fire, the bliss, the surge of truth. But now, everything feels dark. You can't connect. You feel lost, hollow, disoriented. This is not failure, this is not regression. This is the dark night of the soul, and Mira is here to help us walk through it.
Mira. Hi, Guri. This is the part most people aren't prepared for. And yet, this is where the real alchemy happens. The dark night is not the end of awakening. It's the deepening. Guri.
So Mira, let's name it. What exactly is the dark night of the soul?
Mira. It's when everything that's false in your life starts to collapse. After Kundalini rises, it starts clearing out what you've built on illusions. Your identity, your attachments, your roles, your ego masks. And when that happens, you can feel completely disconnected from source, emotionally numb or flat, deeply depressed or anxious, like nothing makes sense anymore. You feel like you've lost yourself, and in a way, you have. But only the version of you that was never truly you. Guri.
I've heard it described as a kind of spiritual depression. Would you agree?
Mira. Yes, but it's different from clinical depression. With depression, there's usually a sense of hopelessness and stagnation. In a spiritual dark night, there's pain, but underneath it, a quiet knowing that something is being stripped away to make space for something truer. It's grief, soul-level grief, for the illusions we didn't know we were clinging to. Guri.
Did you go through this after your awakening?
Mira. Oh yes, and it was brutal. About a month after the awakening, I crashed. The bliss disappeared. My relationships started falling apart. I couldn't hold small talk. I couldn't watch TV. Everything felt fake. I couldn't work. I couldn't pray. Even meditation felt hollow. I remember staring at the ceiling one night thinking, did I just break myself? Is this what awakening really is? Guri.
That's so raw. And I know a lot of listeners are probably in that space right now, confused, scared, maybe even regretting their spiritual path.
Mira. Exactly. But here's the truth. This phase is not punishment. It's purification. You're not broken. You're being emptied. The dark night is like winter. Everything dies, but only to make room for new growth. Guri.
Wow. So how do people survive this phase? Because it can last weeks, months, even years, right?
Mira. Yes, the timeline is different for everyone. But here are a few things that really helped me and others I've guided. First, let go of the high. Don't chase the peak experience you had. It's gone, for now, so something deeper can be born. 2. Return to earth. Cook, clean, garden, chop wood, carry water. Ground in the physical world. Your nervous system needs simplicity. 3. Silence is medicine. Don't force answers. Rest in the unknown, even if it feels unbearable. Truth grows in silence. 4. Find one person who gets it. Whether it's a spiritual friend or therapist, Don't isolate completely, but also don't expect people who haven't walked it to understand. 5. Journal the journey. Even if it's messy, write it. You'll look back and see the seeds you were planting. Guri.
And if someone feels like they've lost their sense of self, or even their sanity,
Mira. Then it's working. The ego will scream and claw during this stage because it thinks it's dying. And in a way, it is. But what replaces it is truth, soul, stillness. You're not going crazy. You're going real. Guri.
I love that. You're not going crazy, you're going real. Let me ask this, can people get stuck here?
Mira. Yes, if they resist, or if they self-identify with the pain. If you start believing, this is who I am now, broken, lost, numb, it can turn into spiritual bypassing or chronic avoidance. But if you say, this is temporary, this is a phase, I am the awareness behind this pain, then you move through it. Not fast, not neatly, but you do move. Guri.
Mira, thank you. That was medicine. To everyone listening, if you're in the dark night, know this. You're not broken. You're breaking open. You're not lost. You're being emptied so you can finally come home to yourself. In episode 5, we begin rebuilding. We dive into the energy body and the chakras, how Kundalini moves through each one and what it unlocks. Until then, be gentle with your becoming.
Episode 5. Energy Maps, Kundalini, and the Chakras. This hour bridges the mystical with the practical. It unpacks how Kundalini interacts with each chakra, how blockages affect awakening, and what it actually feels like as energy rises through the system, told through real stories and grounded dialogue. Guri.
Welcome back to Kundalini Unveiled. I'm Guri, and in this hour we begin to map the terrain. If Kundalini is the energy, then the chakras are the pathways. Today, Mira and I explore the 7 main energy centers and how this sacred force travels through them, unlocking, purifying, sometimes exploding what we thought we were.
Mira. Hey Guri, I love this part of the journey because this is where you really start to understand your own energy body. Every chakra is like a doorway, and Kundalini is the guest who knocks and then kicks the door open. Guri.
Let's set the stage. What are the chakras, not just symbolically, but experientially?
Mira. They're energy centers, consciousness hubs in the subtle body. Each one governs a layer of your being. Survival, emotion, power, love, expression, intuition, union with the divine. And when Kundalini rises, it doesn't just pass through them, it activates, clears, tests, and transforms you at each level. Guri.
Okay, let's go chakra by chakra, starting at the base. What happens in the root chakra when Kundalini awakens?
First root chakra, Muladhara. Theme: survival, grounding, safety. Mira. This is where the serpent sleeps. The awakening often starts here, so it's intense. You may feel buzzing or heat at the base of the spine, fears around money, safety, body, belonging rising up, childhood survival wounds surfacing. If the root is blocked, awakening can feel unstable. That's why grounding practices are non-negotiable early on. Second sacral chakra, Svadhisthana. Theme: emotions, pleasure, creativity. Guri. This one tends to surprise people. Mira.
Yeah, it can be overwhelming.
You might feel intense emotional purging, heightened sexual energy, waves of grief or joy without clear cause, creative bursts, writing, dancing, painting without trying. If this chakra is imbalanced, you may feel shame or addiction patterns rise up for healing. Third, solar plexus, Manipura. Theme: power, will, self-esteem. Guri,
This one can feel fiery, right?
Mira. Oh yes, it's where you start reclaiming your personal power. Experiences include heat in the belly or diaphragm, digestive issues as things digest emotionally, power struggles in your relationships or career, a deep reckoning with ego and control. Here, Kundalini tests whether you're using willpower from fear or from divine alignment. 4. Heart chakra, Anahata. Theme: love, grief, compassion. Guri,
This one hits people hard, doesn't it?
Mira. Yes, because it opens everything. When Kundalini activates the heart, you may cry for no reason, for hours, forgive people you thought you hated, feel surges of love for strangers, animals, even the earth, grieve past versions of yourself. Some feel tightness or expansion in the chest. The key is surrender. Don't resist the opening. Piyadi throat chakra, Vishuddha. Theme: truth, voice, boundaries. Guri,
I've heard people say this chakra is like a dam breaking.
Mira. Totally. Once it opens, everything you've silenced starts pouring out. You may experience the urge to speak truth, even if it rocks your life. Throat tightness, coughing, or voice fluctuations. Sudden changes in communication style. More direct, more authentic. Singing, toning, or spontaneous vocal sounds. Mantras rising on their own. This is about finding the true voice beneath all conditioning. 6th, third eye, Ajna. Theme: intuition, inner vision, insight. Guri,
Now we're entering higher consciousness.
Mira. Yes, and it can feel psychedelic. Experiences include pressure or pulsing between the brows, inner visions, symbols, dream messages, sudden clarity about your life path, heightened intuition or psychic perception. But beware, this can also lead to spiritual ego if not balanced with humility. 7th crown chakra, Sahasrara. Theme: unity, divine connection, transcendence. Guri,
What happens when Kundalini hits the crown?
Mira. It's different for everyone, but many feel pure white or violet light, blissful silence, the sense that there is no self, oneness with all things. But this is not a destination, just a portal. You're not meant to live in the crown forever. The energy must descend too, back into the body for true embodiment. Guri,
Mira, this is such a beautiful map, but it's also a mirror. People listening right now are probably realizing, I felt this in my root or my throat or my heart and didn't know it was part of the awakening. What do we do when one chakra feels stuck or overwhelmed?
Mira. Go gently. Kundalini is not linear. She rises, she descends, she spirals. Sometimes one chakra holds back the whole flow. Sometimes one blasts open too fast. When stuck, bring breath and awareness to the chakra. Use sound, bija mantras, or gentle movement. Most importantly, feel the emotions stored there. They're the real block. Guri.
This hour felt like a healing in itself. To everyone listening, your energy body holds wisdom older than language. Kundalini isn't just burning through you, she's rewriting you, from the root to the stars. In hour 6, we explore the body's response, the kriyas, the surges, the tremors, and how to move with them, not fear them. Until then, breathe into your spine. Your chakras are listening.
Episode 6. The body reacts. Kriyas, shaking, and spontaneous movements. This episode explores the physical responses to Kundalini awakening, the involuntary body movements, tremors, spontaneous breathing changes, and more. Guri and Mira go deep into how the nervous system becomes the stage for spiritual evolution, and how to embrace these sometimes shocking manifestations with trust and wisdom. Guri.
Welcome back to Kundalini Unveiled. I'm Guri, and in this hour, we talk about what happens when the body becomes the vessel. For many, Kundalini isn't a quiet whisper. It's a force, a surge, a shock, spontaneous movements, jerking, heat, vibrations, breath patterns you didn't choose. The body reacts. And Mira's here to guide us through the mysterious and sometimes frightening phenomenon known as kriyas.
Mira. Hi, Guri. This is the hour a lot of people secretly need, because the body doesn't lie. And when Kundalini rises, the body tells the truth, loudly. The thing is, we're conditioned to see anything involuntary as wrong. But in spiritual awakening, involuntary often means in tune. Guri.
Let's start with the word itself. What is a kriya?
Mira. Kriya is a Sanskrit word meaning purifying action. In the context of Kundalini, kriyas are spontaneous physical movements, sounds, or breaths that arise as the energy works to clear blockages from the nervous system and energy body. They're not something you do. They're something that happens through you. Guri.
What kinds of kriyas do people experience?
Mira. There are many, but here are the most common. 1. Physical kriyas. Body shaking or trembling, jerking limbs, arms flinging, head twitching, spontaneous mudras, hand gestures, twisting of the spine or rolling of the neck. Second breath, kriyas, sudden deep breaths, breath retention, fast rhythmic breathing without trying, sighing or gasping. Third sound, kriyas, spontaneous humming, chanting, laughing, or crying, animal-like sounds or wailing, Sanskrit or unknown languages, glossolalia. Fourth, visual or sensory kriyas, flashing lights behind closed eyes, energy pulsing through the spine, feeling like the body is moving when it's not. All of these are part of energetic detox. Guri.
This is where people usually start to freak out, right?
Mira. Yes, because we're taught that if you're not in control, something is wrong. But in spiritual work, loss of control is often the opening to deeper intelligence. Your body isn't malfunctioning, it's clearing years, sometimes lifetimes, of suppressed energy, trauma, fear, repressed truth, and when it's ready, it releases. Guri.
I remember the first time I had a kriya. My arm started shaking during breathwork, and I thought, oh no, am I having a seizure?
Mira. Totally normal reaction, but here's how to tell the difference. Kriyas don't feel harmful. There's often a sense of surrender underneath. even if they're intense. You stay conscious. You're aware of what's happening, even if you can't control it. There's often emotional release, tears, laughter, peace afterward. If something feels violent, painful, or unsafe, pause and seek guidance. But 90% of the time, it's just pure purification. Guri,
So what should someone do when kriyas start happening?
Mira, here's what I recommend. 1. Let it happen. As long as you're safe, allow it. Don't suppress. Don't try to look normal. Trust the process. 2. Stay with the breath. Let the breath anchor you. Not forcefully, just witness your breath so you don't dissociate. 3rd ground, afterward. Walk, eat, lie on the floor, touch a tree. Kriyas can leave you expanded or dizzy. Reconnect with earth. 4. Journal immediately. Write what happened, what emotions came up, what visions or messages arose. Kriyas often come with soul wisdom. 5. Talk to someone who gets it. You're not alone. And no, you're not going crazy. You're becoming clear. Guri,
Why do you think the body has to move so much during this process? Why doesn't awakening happen more? Still?
Mira. Because awakening isn't abstract. It's embodied. The body holds the score, as trauma work teaches us. So, when consciousness rises, the body has to rewire. The nervous system needs to discharge old trauma. Movement is part of that alchemy. Kundalini is not polite. She's alive, and she moves you, literally, into truth. Guri,
Have you ever had kriyas that scared you?
Mira. Yes. The first few times I had spontaneous movements during meditation, I was embarrassed, even alone. My spine twisted, my hands made shapes I didn't understand. But over time, I stopped resisting. And when I surrendered, the movements became fluid, sacred, healing. It was like watching my soul dance its way out of my body. Guri,
That's beautiful. So for listeners going through this right now, what's one sentence they should remember?
Mira, you're not breaking down. You're breaking open. Your body remembers how to heal if you let it. Guri,
Mira, thank you. And to everyone listening, if your body is moving, crying, trembling, or gasping, don't shame it. Kundalini doesn't speak in English. She speaks in breath, in rhythm, in movement. Let her say what she came to say. In hour 7, we explore something just as essential: how to live in the world while awakening. Jobs, relationships, families. How do you stay grounded when everything inside you is transforming? Until then, honor your body. It's the temple, and the storm, and the sage.
Episode 7. Staying grounded. Jobs, relationships, and the real world during awakening. This episode gets real. Awakening doesn't happen in a monastery. It happens while raising kids, answering emails, cooking dinner, navigating heartbreak, paying rent. Guri and Mira talk about how to function in the physical world while your inner world is being rewired by Kundalini. Guri,
Welcome to episode 7 of Kundalini Unveiled. If you've made it this far, chances are you're feeling it. Your body's shifting. Your dreams are intense. You might be buzzing or breaking. But here's the twist. Even when your soul is rising, life doesn't pause. You still have deadlines, families, rent, relationships. So the question becomes, how do we stay grounded in the world while everything inside us is dissolving and reforming? Mira's back, and today we're walking the tightrope between heaven and earth.
Mira. Hi, Guri. This is one of my favorite topics because it's where most seekers either burn out or break through. Awakening isn't about escaping life, it's about inhabiting it more truthfully, even when it's messy. Guri.
So let's start here. What are the top 3 real-world challenges people face during Kundalini awakening?
Mira. Here they are. 1. Feeling disconnected from normal life. You can't fake small talk. Work feels meaningless. The things that used to excite you don't. 2nd, relationship friction. You're changing fast. Others aren't. That creates tension. Partners, friends, even family may say, "You're not the same." 3rd, energy instability. You feel wired one day, exhausted the next. It's hard to keep consistent routines, show up on time, or stay productive. Guri.
I've been through all 3, especially that phase where I wanted to quit everything: job, relationships, society, and just meditate on a mountain.
Mira laughs. We've all had that moment. But most of us aren't meant to run away. We're meant to become bridges, humans who carry higher consciousness into everyday life. Part 1. Work and Purpose. Guri.
Let's talk about work. How do you show up for your job when your nervous system is rewiring itself?
Mira. You simplify. You slow down. You soften your expectations. Here's what I suggest. Be radically honest with yourself. If your work is soul-crushing, the awakening will amplify that. But don't make rash decisions. Give yourself time to observe before you quit or pivot. Find ways to infuse presence into any task. Even spreadsheets can become sacred with the right awareness. Ask, what can I let go of? Busyness, overcommitting, people-pleasing. Kundalini helps burn that out. Guri.
So maybe the job doesn't change immediately, but how you relate to it does.
Mira. Exactly. And sometimes the job does change, but not from panic, from clarity. Part 2. Relationships during awakening. Guri.
What about relationships? This is where most people feel alone.
Mira. Yes, because you start craving depth, truth, resonance. And if your current relationships are built on performance or avoidance, they'll start to crack. Some will fall away. That's natural. Painful, but natural. Others will evolve if you give them space to grow. Here's what helps. Communicate clearly. I'm going through something internal. I may need space, but I still care. Don't try to convert people. Lead by example. Speak less. Embody more. Find soul allies. Even one person who gets it can shift your entire field. Guri.
Did you lose relationships during your awakening?
Mira. Yes. Some gently faded. Others ended in fire. But I also found people who felt like home without effort. That's the gift of awakening. It aligns you with truth-based connection. Part 3. Living Practices for Stability. Guri.
Let's get really practical. What are your go-to daily grounding practices for people in the thick of it?
Mira, here are my top ones. 1. Barefoot walking on earth, grass, wood. Helps the energy root. 2. Dense, nourishing food. Cooked veggies, root vegetables, soups. Avoid extreme fasting during intense phases. 3. Digital silence. At least 1 hour a day with no screen. Let your system breathe. 4th movement, not just meditation. Dance, stretch, shake. Kundalini often moves more when the body is rigid. 5. Sleep and rest without guilt. You're not lazy. You're integrating cosmic upgrades. Guri,
Those are beautiful and so doable. I think a lot of people just need permission to slow down.
Mira. Yes. Awakening isn't about doing more. It's about being more present with less. Guri,
To everyone listening, if you're struggling to balance the divine and the daily, remember, this awakening is not trying to take you away from the world. It's teaching you how to show up in it with deeper truth, slower breath, and greater love. In Apostle 8, we explore the mystical and the multidimensional, visions, downloads, timelines, and past lives. Because sometimes, awakening opens more than just your heart. It opens the cosmic gates. Until then, go slow. Drink water. Be kind to your nervous system. And remember, staying grounded is not a step backward. It's how you make the heavens real.
Episode 8. Mystic Doors, Visions, Timelines, and Past Life Memories. This is the mystical episode, the one where the veil lifts. When Kundalini awakens, she often opens more than your body and emotions. She opens perception. This episode explores the visions, downloads, timelines, past life flashes, and multidimensional experiences that unfold, and how to walk through these psychic gates with grounded awareness. Guri,
Welcome back to Kundalini Unveiled. I'm Guri, and this is episode 8, Mystic Doors. If you're here, chances are you've seen things. Maybe in dreams, maybe in meditation, maybe randomly while doing the dishes. Visions, fractals, past life memories, future timelines, symbols you've never studied, but somehow know. You're not imagining it. You're not broken. You're tapping into something older than your mind and deeper than your senses. Mira joins me now to walk us through this mystical terrain.
Mira. Hi, Guri. This is the hour where language starts to break down, isn't it? Because Kundalini doesn't just open your energy body, it activates your inner perception. The siddhis, the subtle senses, the layers of memory beyond this lifetime. It's beautiful. It's confusing. It's easy to get lost in. Guri.
So let's ground this. When people start seeing visions or feeling like they've accessed past lives or timelines, what's actually happening?
Mira. What's happening is your third eye and higher chakras are activating. We live in a multidimensional universe, but most people are tuned only to one frequency, 3D survival. Kundalini changes your signal. Suddenly, you're picking up on past life memories stored in the soul field, collective archetypes and symbols, parallel timelines, higher guidance from spiritual beings, energy structures within and around others. It can feel like being dropped into a movie, but it's you. Segment 1, Visions and Inner Sight. Guri.
Let's start with visions. Why do people start seeing images, geometry, or light forms?
Mira. Because Kundalini cleans the lens of perception. When the pineal gland, pituitary gland, and ajna chakra activate, people often report seeing light codes or sacred geometry, faces from other lifetimes, beings of light or shadow, mythic landscapes or temples, eye symbols, snakes, golden light, or flame. These are not always literal. They're symbolic intelligence. The soul speaks in image and energy. Guri,
How do you tell if it's a real spiritual message or just the mind making things up?
Mira. Great question. Here's the test. A true spiritual message leaves a deep stillness or knowing in the body. It's not just exciting, it's quietly true. Ego-based fantasy tends to feel loud, urgent, or emotionally charged. Divine vision is precise, calm, and feels like it remembers you. Segment 2. Past Lives and Timelines. Guri,
Let's talk about past lives. Why do they start surfacing during Kundalini?
Mira. Because your soul is releasing karmic residue stored across incarnations. You might have intense dreams of ancient times, speak a language you've never learned, feel deep emotion when hearing music from a certain culture, meet someone and feel a soul memory instantly. These memories are rising not for curiosity, but for completion. Whatever isn't healed will surface, not just from this life, but from every layer you've carried. Guri,
Have you personally experienced a past life memory?
Mira. Yes, several. But one stands out. I remembered being a healer in an ancient desert culture. I saw my hands applying herbal poultices. I could smell the oils. And the grief I felt when I lost a student to illness, it was unbearable, even in vision. When I came back from that experience, I suddenly understood why I've always felt irrational fear around failing people as a guide. That's the power of a real memory. It heals this life too. Segment 3. Downloads, timelines, and nonlinear time. Guri,
What are downloads? People use that word a lot in spiritual circles.
Mira. A download is a sudden influx of information or clarity that doesn't come through logic. It can feel like a burst of knowing, a sentence or mantra dropping in, a vision of your future, a message from your higher self or guides. They're fast, clear, and often accompanied by heat, tingling, or energy rushes. Guri,
Let's touch on timelines. Some people say they jumped timelines or merged with another self. Is that real?
Mira. In the awakened state, time is nonlinear. You start to see your life as a web of possible expressions, not a straight line. Timeline shifts can feel like sudden clarity after years of confusion, old patterns dissolving instantly, meeting someone who changes your life path, a sense of déjà vu or recognition of a future self. The soul always has choices. Kundalini sharpens your awareness of which path you're on and gives you the courage to shift it. Segment 4. Staying grounded in the mystical. Guri,
So, how do we stay grounded while experiencing all this cosmic activity?
Mira. Beautiful question. Here are my golden rules. 1. Don't chase visions. If it comes, honor it. But don't seek mysticism for entertainment. 2. Stay rooted in the body. Movement, food, nature. Your body is the anchor that prevents psychic overwhelm. 3. Discernment is sacred. Not every voice is a divine. Use your intuition and your logic. Ask, does this uplift me or feed fear or ego? 4. Write it down, then let it go. Journal the download. Honor the vision, but don't cling to it. 5. Return to presence. The true teaching is always now. Don't get lost in dimensions and forget the dishes. Guri.
Mira, thank you for helping us walk the edge between wonder and wisdom. To everyone listening, if you're seeing visions, feeling past lives, receiving cosmic truths, breathe. You're not special. You're not broken. You're just remembering more of who you already are. In Hour 9, we dive into the final crucible, ego death, surrender, and the sacred void. Because before the phoenix rises, it must burn. Until then, witness what arises. But don't forget to drink water, eat real food, and be fully here.
Episode 9. The Death Before Rebirth, Ego Collapse, and the Sacred Void. This episode dives deep into the most challenging and transformative phase of Kundalini awakening, the dismantling of the ego, the dark night of the soul, and the encounter with the sacred void. Guri and Mira share raw, honest conversation about surrendering identity, facing spiritual emptiness, and the alchemical process that births true freedom. Guri.
Welcome back to Kundalini Unveiled. I'm Guri, and this is episode 9, The Death Before Rebirth. If you're here, maybe you felt your sense of self unraveling. Maybe the person you thought you were is fading, like mist dissolving in sunlight. Maybe you're walking through a darkness so profound it feels like a spiritual death. This is the sacred crucible, where the ego breaks down so the true self can emerge. I'm here with Mira to hold space for this often lonely and terrifying process.
Mira. Hi, Guri. This stage is the most misunderstood and feared part of awakening. People get stuck. They feel lost, depressed, hopeless. But if we can lean into this dark night, it's also the most liberating phase. Because the ego is a construct. It's not you. And when it dies, what remains is pure awareness. Guri.
Let's start with the basics. What is ego death in the context of Kundalini awakening?
Mira. Ego death is the collapse of the false self, the identity built on stories, roles, fears, and attachments. Kundalini energy is so powerful, it burns away the ego's layers. What's left is emptiness, silence, and sometimes terrifying nothingness. But this void is sacred. It's a womb from which a new self is born. Segment 1. Symptoms of ego death. Guri.
What does ego death feel like physically, emotionally, mentally?
Mira. It can feel like intense anxiety or panic without a clear cause, loss of motivation, meaning, or purpose, deep loneliness or alienation from others, feeling like you don't know who you are anymore, emotional numbness or overwhelming sadness, disorientation in time and space, physical fatigue or energy surges, dissolution of boundaries between self and other. Guri.
That sounds terrifying. How do people survive this phase?
Mira. By surrendering instead of resisting. Resisting ego death only prolongs suffering. Instead, lean into the emptiness, let go of control, practice presence, and radical acceptance. Segment 2. The Sacred Void and Surrender. Guri.
Tell me more about this sacred void. How is it different from despair?
Mira. Despair is a painful emotion tied to attachment. The void is a presence beyond pain. It's the container of all experience. When ego falls away, you meet pure being without labels. The void feels like a vast openness, sometimes terrifying, sometimes blissful. The key is to not push it away, but to welcome the silence. Guri,
How can people practice surrender in daily life?
Mira, surrender is not giving up. It's letting go of the need to control outcomes or identity. Try these. Mindful breathing. Anchor in the breath when fear arises. Self-inquiry. Ask, who am I beyond these thoughts? Non-resistance. Feel feelings fully without judgment or avoidance. Trust the process. Believe this dark night is transforming you. Segment 3. The Phoenix Rises, Rebirth. Guri,
If ego death is so hard, how do we know it's over? What comes next?
Mira. Ego death ends when the false self dissolves enough to reveal your true nature, which is infinite awareness and love. It's like the phoenix burning in the fire. Ashes fall away and you rise anew. This rebirth feels like a deep inner peace, unshakable presence, compassion that flows naturally, freedom from fear and judgment, a sense of unity with all life. Guri,
Does Kundalini energy change after this rebirth?
Mira. Yes, the energy stabilizes. It no longer rushes or burns destructively. Instead, it flows like a river, powerful but gentle. You embody awakening, not chase it. Segment 4. Integration and support. Guri,
How can listeners integrate this process with their daily lives?
Mira. Integration is the key to embodiment. Some tips. Seek supportive community, online or offline, where you can share honestly. Keep grounding practices: nature, food, rest, movement. Journaling. Write down insights, fears, and breakthroughs. Be patient. This is not a quick fix. Seek help if needed. Therapists or spiritual guides familiar with awakening. Guri,
To everyone on this edge of transformation, you are not alone. You are not broken. The darkness you face is the threshold to a new life. Stay curious. Stay gentle with yourself. In our final episode 10, we will explore embodiment, mastery, and living Kundalini in a fully integrated way. Until then, breathe into the void and remember, the light always returns.
Episode 10. Embodiment and Mastery, Living Kundalini in Every Moment. This is the final episode where the mystical meets the practical. Guri and Mira guide listeners through how to embody the awakened Kundalini energy sustainably, to master presence, balance, and joyful living after deep transformation. Because true awakening isn't just about experience, it's about living the awakening every day. Guri,
Welcome to the last hour of Kundalini Unveiled. I'm Guri, here with Mira. We've journeyed through awakening, visions, death, and rebirth. Now it's time for embodiment. The real magic begins when Kundalini energy settles into your daily life, your relationships, work, creativity, and joy. So how do we live this mastery moment to moment? Mira, let's begin.
Mira. Hi, Guri. Embodiment is where the rubber meets the road. It's integrating the ecstatic energy of awakening with the ordinary world. Because Kundalini is not about escaping life. It's about fully living it. Mastery means being present with all of it: the mundane, the challenging, the beautiful. Segment 1. daily practices for embodiment. Guri,
What are the core practices that help keep Kundalini grounded and embodied?
Mira, here are some essentials. Mindful movement, yoga, walking, tai chi, anything that connects breath with body. Breath awareness, daily pranayama or simple breath meditations to regulate energy. Creative expression, art, music, dance, letting the energy flow through creation. Nature connection, spending time outside to balance subtle energy with Earth's grounding. Healthy boundaries, saying no, rest, and self-care to prevent burnout. Presence in routine, doing dishes, cooking, even emails with full attention. Gratitude practice, cultivating appreciation anchors joy and shifts perspective. Segment 2, balancing energy in relationships. Guri,
Kundalini affects relationships deeply. How can we keep connection healthy while evolving spiritually?
Mira, spiritual awakening can create distance or confusion with partners, family, friends. To balance, open communication, share your experience honestly but gently. Respect others' journeys. Everyone evolves at their own pace. Grounded presence, listen fully and be emotionally available. Healthy independence. Maintain your own space and practice without attachment. Mutual growth. Find or build community with like-minded souls. Segment 3. Emotional mastery and shadow work. Guri,
What about emotional ups and downs? Is that normal after awakening?
Mira, absolutely. Awakening amplifies everything, including shadow material. Emotional mastery isn't about suppression, it's about witnessing emotions without judgment, allowing feelings to flow through you like rivers, using shadow work to uncover hidden fears and patterns, integrating difficult parts with compassion. Segment 4, living joyfully in Kundalini energy. Guri,
Ultimately, what does joyful living look like in Kundalini mastery?
Mira, joy arises naturally when you're fully present and aligned. It looks like freedom from chasing approval or external validation, deep connection with your purpose and passion, playfulness, laughter, and spontaneity, compassion that includes yourself and others, peace in stillness and movement. Guri,
Beautiful. How can listeners keep inspired on this path?
Mira, remember, Kundalini is a lifelong dance. Celebrate the small victories. Be patient with setbacks. And never forget, this energy is your birthright. Guri,
Thank you for sharing this epic journey with us. Remember, Kundalini awakening is not just an event, it's a way of being. If you take one thing from this series, let it be this: you are the master of your energy. Your presence is your power. Keep breathing, keep growing, and keep shining. Until next time, this is Guri and Mira, signing off from Kundalini Unveiled. Namaste.